Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Afifah Fauziah and I am from PBIB class. And now I will explain about Psycholinguistics Assignment with the topic Language in Psycholinguistic Perspective. So now I will explain my answer of the question. So in a linguistic perspective, language is analyzed as a structured system used for communication. It consists of rules and patterns that help people communicate clearly with one another. Linguistics studies how sounds form words or phonology, how words are created or morphology, how sentences are built or syntax, and how meaning is conveyed or semantics. And for example, the word tree represents a tall plant with leaves. Linguistics views language as a formal system that can be examined based on certain rules that determine how sounds, words, and sentences should be arranged to create meaning. From the psycholinguistic perspective, language is not just seen as a system of rules but also as a process that involves the brain and cognitive functions. Psycholinguistics focus on how the brain processes language, how it helps us understand what people are saying, and how it enables us to respond. For instance, when someone says something to us, our brain quickly decodes the sounds, processes the information, and makes sense of the message. In this sense, psycholinguistics views language as a mental function that allows us to communicate and process information in real time. Language production involves turning dogs into spoken or written words. When we want to say something, our brain chooses the words and arranges them into sentences. For example, if someone wants to express that they are tired, their brain will formulate a sentence like, I feel tired. This involves several mental steps, from thinking about the idea to selecting the right words and forming them into coherent sentence. Language perception is the ability to understand and make sense of language, whether it's spoken or written. When we hear or read something, our brain processes it and understands the meaning behind the words. For instance, when someone hears the cat is sleeping, their brain immediately visualizes a cat that is currently resting, without needing further clarification. Language acquisition refers to how we learn languages, whether it's our native language or a second language. Babies acquire language naturally by hearing and imitating the people around them. This process happens gradually as they begin to understand grammar and vocabulary without formal teaching. However, learning a second language as an adult requires conscious effort and often involves memorizing the grammar rules and practicing speaking. The differences of the three languages is language production is the act of creating language, whether dog speaking or writing. It's an active process where we formulate ideas and turn them into words. Language perception, on the other hand, is about understanding the words and message we receive. It's a passive process where we interpret what we hear or read. And lastly, language acquisition is the long-term process of learning a language. While production and perception happen quickly and in real time, acquisition requires time and practice. The first two processes are more immediate, while acquisition is more gradual. And the sameness of the language is all three processes are part of how humans interact with language. They each involve the brain's ability to process language, and they require us to understand language rules, whether we're speaking, listening, or learning. Each process depends on our memory and cognitive skills to handle the complexity of language, from forming words to understanding them. Okay, that's all I can say. See you in the next video.